Okay, welcome. We're on day 4 of Foundations Week. Today is all about intuitive writing. Some people call it automatic writing. Some people call it journaling. You could call it channeling through journaling. Basically, we're going to be connecting to whatever energy we want to connect with and using pen, paper, or even typing to get that message out. So that is like just a quick snippet of what it is, but really why it can be such a great tool. So I think sometimes it's like, is it a tool? Like in the beginning, I think I didn't even realize this was a tool. Like a pendulum, it's like an obvious tool, right? Or like a card deck, an obvious tool. But I think the method of intuitive writing or journaling, automatic writing, is such a beautiful tool to connect you with your spiritual guidance and deepen your intuition while you're doing it. To me, it feels like the step, kind of like the training wheel step before kind of sitting in meditation and receiving your answers just in your head telepathically. Um, because the reason why I think it can work so well when people are ready for it, it gives your human body, like writing or typing, something to do, and it gives your brain kind of something to focus on. And it's a little easier to get your logic kind of out of the way a little bit and allow that guidance to flow through. Um, when we're just sitting in meditation and like trying to receive our spiritual guidance, sometimes it can be a little tricky at first to tell the difference between us and the guidance coming through, or also just to quiet the thoughts that we're having. But when we have like a physical thing to do, like writing, I think it just makes it easier to connect in that way. And just like all the other tools, what is so amazing is as you do it and as you practice it, one, it gets easier, but also your intuition is going to expand and your connection to whatever you're connecting to expands and grows and strengthens. So it's just easier to receive like more in-depth answers. Sometimes when people start with intuitive writing, even like last night on the workshop call, it's so if people are in the membership, it's December 2024's call. We used all the tools to like celebrate and check in on our personal growth throughout the year. And like my intuitive writing at the end was just like, wow, exclamation point, pretty much. Sometimes it's so simple and it's like just one word will come out, and I think like someone on the call, I forget, what did Claire say? It was like she felt like she was only like barely getting anything, but whatever it was like release something, but it was enough. So sometimes when we're intuitive writing, we're gonna get like a huge, long, like beautifully written, like definitely sounds like just beautiful spiritual guidance. And sometimes it's literally like, wow, we love you, love yourself, drink water. So just know, like, as you're doing it, even me now, I can get the big messages, and sometimes it's still just like one little message. It's not always going to be like a big extravagant message, although sometimes it will be. But just knowing that it doesn't mean like you're not doing it right or you're not like far enough ahead. That's just the message that's meant to come out at that time. That being said, at the beginning, I did get more like one word answers. And then it started becoming more like sentences. But again, everyone is different. So what to ask? Okay. What kinds of things can we ask? Very similar. Um, Again, this is my perspective. You can ask whatever you want. What I typically like to ask is, what am I most meant to know right now? That is almost always what I will ask. When we do it later, I'll say like, dear higher self, I'll write it like a letter. What am I most meant to know right now? Or what is in my highest alignment to know? Or what, if you want to get a little more specific, because I will get a little more specific. I feel like when I do intuitive writing than when I do cards, I'm not saying it has to be that way, just naturally that's what feels better to me. So I might say, like, what am I meant, like, dear higher self, what am I meant to know right now about this specific relationship? Or what am I meant to know right now about my healing journey? Or what am I meant to know right now about my spiritual growth journey or my health journey? Or what am I meant to know about my job situation? So I do find with intuitive writing, it's a little easier to get more specific. Um, and it's just funny when I pull cards, I'm always just like, what's in my highest alignment for me to know? I'm less likely to say about a specific situation. I don't know. Maybe intuitive writing just lends itself to be a little more specific. So I'm just saying random questions to give you ideas of what you might want to ask about. But yeah, what am I most meant to know about blank is really the question I feel like I am most drawn to asking. And we'll practice that today. And then same with who or what to connect with. Really the same when I'm doing all my stuff. I personally think it's most aligned to connect with your higher self when you're doing this. However, you can connect with whoever and whatever you want to connect with. I wouldn't just connect with like nothing. I wouldn't just start writing. I know some people do that. They'll just like start writing and they'll let whatever kind of spirit is around kind of come in. It might be their higher self. It might just be a spirit that happens to be in your house at the time, which if you know there's a spirit in your house and you wanted to connect with them, I think that's totally fine if you like feel like it's in alignment. But I would not just like treat it like a Ouija board situation where you're just like, whoever wants to come in, go ahead and like write through me. Um, so your higher self is definitely what I would recommend. For most people, you could connect with a past loved one, a specific ancestor, a specific archetype of energy that you like to connect with. So um, like a Mary Magdalene, Isis, that kind of thing. You can connect with those types of energies to um, receive spiritual guidance and information. But typically, I'm always going for my higher self. Just what am I meant to know about blank? Or just what am I most meant to know today? And we will go through exactly what that is. It's going to be very similar to connecting with cards and with a pendulum. Oh, the other thing is writing versus typing. So I've seen people say, well, I'm not a good writer, or it takes me too long to write. Or like when I'm writing, I just can't, whatever. And some people will say you can't do this through typing, which I do not understand why someone would say that. My guess is if someone's saying that, it just means writing works better for them. And somewhere down the line, people just thought you had to write. For some people, typing works better. If you're just really good at typing, it's might be easier for you to type or even type on your phone. So that could be something to play around with, is trying it out with writing and trying it out with typing. Um, I find usually one works better for people than the other one. So that would be something to just keep in mind. I think typing is totally fine if you want to type. And the other thing that you can do, I think we're going to do today, I'm sure we'll have time, is you can combine intuitive writing with other things. So you could pull a card, and then while the card is up, you could say something like, Dear higher self, what am I most meant to know about this card? Or you could just set the intention, okay, I'm pulling a card for whatever I'm meant to know today, and then I'm going to do intuitive writing about it. Dear higher self, what am I meant to know about this card? Kind of the same thing. But you can kind of use the card and the writing together, and sometimes that can be really helpful for people. You can also, I like to, when I'm doing intuitive writing, especially if I'm doing it for like someone else or like a collective message, I will, if it's a short collective message, I'll body test the whole thing. So like if you ever see me post on Facebook or like in an email and it's like a channeled affirmation or like a channeled collective message, I will not just like type it and send it. I will check to make sure I got all the words that were meant to come through, that I got them like right. So you can also like, I'll put my, like, you could put your finger on the sentence or on the word and use your pendulum. Like, is this accurate or is this like my truth? Sometimes I find that can be really helpful in the beginning, especially if you feel like you got like some real, not just like, love yourself more, drink more water, like that stuff comes up all the time. But if you got something that's like more specific and you're like, how did that just come out of me? Like, is that like, did I make that up? Or is that even like my truth? It can be really helpful for us skeptics to put your finger on it and check with your pendulum. Is this like my truth? Something like that. I know I used to do that a lot, just being like, is this actually what is meant to come out right now? Especially with like a bigger, I don't know, just like even I'm just checking if I'm meant to talk about it or not. Okay, so like let's pretend you were doing some intuitive writing about like past lives. So if you were like, okay, what am I like? For me, so I've explored some of my past lives. It's not the way that it works for me. This is not how it works for everyone. But for me, I can't just like get into meditation or get into intuitive writing and be like, okay, tell me about my past lives or a past life. That never has worked for me. It might work for you. So you could be like, do your higher self, what past life am I meant to explore right now? You could ask something like that. For me, nothing ever comes through when I do that. For people who do past life readings, that would definitely work. Just like, dear higher self, tell me what I'm meant to know about, what past life I'm meant to know about. For me, what happens is it starts kind of slowly coming into my awareness. Um, Even this could be for anything. It doesn't have to be past lives, but anything you're being guided towards, you just slowly start becoming aware of it. So even like before I did Reiki is another great tool. We're not talking about this week, but energy work, Reiki, any kind of energy work is a great tool for opening your intuition. But something like Reiki might start coming into your awareness, or Akashic records or past life, and it just slowly starts coming in where you're like noticing it, and then maybe you see like a Facebook post, or maybe you're like just randomly thinking about it. That's how it works for me with like getting a past life. It'll just randomly start coming to me, and I'm like, where did that come from? And then I'll use my pendulum, like, is this past life related? And then slowly more information will kind of come through like as the days go by. I don't just get like a download typically of a whole thing. So if that were to happen and I'm slowly getting information and then I do intuitive writing and I'm like, okay, dear higher self, tell me more about this past life, or what am I meant to know? Is there something I need to heal to kind of clear out or heal with that past life? And say I get a bunch of information, I'm definitely going to be checking that with my pendulum, because I'm going to be like, did I just make that story up, or did that actually come out? If it's something more like general, just like a nice message, I'm not going to be checking that with my pendulum, because I feel like I don't need to. It's like I can just take that for what it is. But for some reason, if it's specific, I like to personally check with my pendulum. You don't have to, but I like to do that. Okay. So before we start practicing and getting like present and grounded and everything, any questions, thoughts, anything come up that you want me to talk about or address before I keep going? I can hear my kids coming back inside. It's like funny. I feel like they're 6 and 9. I feel like they're finally old enough they can like play it in the driveway by themselves. I'm wondering if we want to practice. Okay. So if you do use a pendulum, then you can check in. Is it in my highest and best? to try intuitive writing right now with actually writing? Or is it in my highest and best to type for the intuitive writing? If you don't use a pendulum, just pick whichever one feels more that you're like more excited about. And there's no wrong answers. Either one is right, but it can just be your energy might be more inclined for one right now. It's also completely fine if you want to use the chat. Since if you're going to be typing, you don't need like a separate device. You could just use the chat and do your typing in there. So just kind of feel into either pendulum or just kind of feeling in, okay, do I want to type or write? And you could always do both. What am I going to do? Do you need help? I think they're hanging up on, there's two. See that green winter coat to the left? Left. Yeah, right next to that, my coat. I think they're both hanging there. Feel like I should put you on camera. Husband's gonna go snow blow. Ooh, yeah, Martha, I'd be super curious, yeah, how this goes. I don't know him, but I'm sure he has a really cool process. He suggests continuing to write and see what comes, but I find the need to pause and listen for messages. Yeah, everyone is different. So I'll say that. I'm going to show you what I do. However, with all of this stuff, I really think it's like take whatever you can from the kind of teachers that you're guided towards and then just make it your own. I think so yeah, if you need to pause, I would just pause and let it come in. So that's also showing you are it's kind of like you're that's probably okay, backtrack. That's probably how you get your messages in more like a downloaded chunk almost is what it would make me wonder, instead of like slowly. So it's like you have to kind of pause, let the whole thing come in, and then you can go. Either way, super cool. Okay, here we go. So we're going to kind of similar with everything we've been doing. Get present, which just means I'm going to put my hands over my heart. I'm going to take a nice deep breath. I'm going to just feel the earth below me. Or if you like to imagine that you're going down into the earth, you can do that. Then I'm going to imagine whatever you want to connect with above that you're connecting to that. So if it's your higher self, just allowing that connection to deepen. You're already connected, but just letting it deepen. So just really kind of letting that come in. You could say something like if you wanted to say a little, kind of like a little prayer before, or like a little intention of like, thank you for this connection to my blank. Like I would say, thank you for this connection to my higher self. Thank you for always providing me with the highest truth, the highest wisdom, and the highest and best for all. You could say something like that. Oh, Julie, I love that idea. She cleared her notebook before our call and then fused it with love and intent for information you're meant to know. That's so good. I love that. Yeah. Especially if you have a space that's like dedicated to where you're doing your writing. Such a good idea. Okay. So what if you want to try again, if you kind of do it a different way, you're more than welcome to do it a different way. I'm going to put it in the chat, what I like to say. So I like to write, feel free to I'm going to say what I'm going to do and then actually do it. But so I would say something like, dear higher self, just checking. Okay, we're going super simple. general. So, dear higher self, what am I most meant to know today? And now, what I do that I have found helps me and most of my students is I write, Dear higher self, what am I most meant to know today? Or whatever question. You can, if you're guided to ask a different question or have a different energy, go for it. And what I do is I keep writing or typing that question until a word pops into my head or a sentence or a thought. And so I'm focused on, Dear higher self, what am I most meant to know today? If my immediate I don't have a thought right after that, I'll write it again. Dear higher self, what am I most meant to know today? Sometimes it helps get us present in our body. It helps give your like human self something to do to allow the guidance to come in. Um, when I was first doing this, sometimes I would write it like 8 times before like a word or the beginning of a sentence would come in. For most people, once that first word comes in or the first part of a sentence, things can kind of flow a little bit. Um, okay, let's just try that for now, and then we'll kind of troubleshoot a little. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm just going to keep writing, Dear higher self, what am I most meant to know today? Until something else pops in, and then I'll follow whatever is coming through. And then I'm going to talk. If you're still writing, just tune me out. um, for me, when I'm done, I start repeating myself usually, or I'll end up kind of, it almost sounds like it's like my higher self signing off. Um, Something else that you can do if you're asking for especially more specific information, I will go back and forth, like, Dear higher self. So writing like, what am I meant to know? And then writing the answer. And then I will write again as myself, like, thank you for that message. Um, can you give me more information about blank? Or is there more I meant to know about like a specific part of the conversation? So you can also keep most messages, I feel like it's just kind of like a one and done. But if you're kind of doing more of like exploring something, like kind of a bigger, like an actual topic, like your healing journey in general, or if you're like really working through some sort of relationship healing type thing, you might go back and forth, of like, you write a question to your higher self or whoever, they answer it, then you write another question, they answer it. So you can do it like a conversation, as if you're writing like an actual letter, um, or having a conversation back and forth. Um, just that can happen. Okay. Any questions or troubleshooting or any thoughts that came up? Did you get a message? Um, Anything you want to share? And then we're going to practice a different way. I got that I wasn't allowed to even do it. So I was just sitting here being like, well, now what? Oh, also the idea of like clearing ahead of time. If this was something you were really drawn to, or if you already have like an intuitive writing practice, like Julie said, it could be really neat to clear whatever you're writing in, and also have like a special pen or whatever you write with, that's used only for your intuitive writing, and thinking about also your pen as like the tool. So you could also you could clear it with whatever, smoke or your own energy, or you could use your pendulum and just ask that anything be cleared from your pen that's not serving you, or the pen, and just allow it to do. For me, it's a counterclockwise circle. And then you could also activate the pen and just, or your writing utensil, and just say, okay, thank you for being on this journey with me. Whenever I use you, thank you for connecting me with your higher self. Thank you for always like supporting me to get the highest truth, the highest wisdom, for my highest and best, something like that. And then just allow it to activate, which for me is a clockwise circle. So yeah, I love that idea of you could clear and activate your whatever your tools are with your writing. Um, okay, I'll be quiet for a second. And then obviously, if you're in on the recording, you can leave a comment in the comment section, or if you're in SGU, the Facebook group, or just reply to my email, any of my emails. Oh, great question, Martha. Do you think that caffeine interferes? I mean, I get a no. For some people, I could see it interfering. Oh, my body says no. I think caffeine interferes if we think it interferes. That is the what's coming through. I think if our thoughts are so powerful, so powerful. So what's coming through is, if we think caffeine is going to interfere, it's going to interfere. If we think I'm just drinking caffeine and I'm enjoying my coffee, it's fine. It's funny with caffeine. I have a really interesting, like, I think a lot of people are like this probably, where sometimes, and I will literally check in with it, like with my higher self, my body, whatever. Right now I'm on caffeine. I'm on coffee. I drink like a cup a day. And when I do, I enjoy my coffee. Like, I sit with it and like it feels so nice in my hands. I like spend time enjoying my coffee. I don't just like quickly drink it and not think about it. Um, and like, I look forward to drinking my coffee. But sometimes I go through phases where it's very obvious I'm not supposed to have coffee, and I'll check in and it's like, nope, no coffee. And then it'll come back again. So I do wonder, maybe the caffeine would affect my intuition and everything during the times where it's not in alignment for me to be having coffee. So that could also be something to just check. But like, right now, I know coffee's not interfering with me. And it's like, but I like having it. Um, I hope that helps a little. Because I know people will even say, there's people who have to be on certain medications, just with whatever is going on in their life. They're in a phase of life, they need certain medications. Um, And I've heard people be like, well, it cuts you off from your intuition. I really don't believe that. I really think we are, no matter what, if we want to be, I mean, it might cloud our intuition if it makes our brain cloudy, depending on the medication. But I think if we're really meant to have a medication, I feel like we also can still have our normal spiritual practices. And caffeine is like way less than a medication, but I don't know. However, I think if you're taking a medication or caffeine or anything that you're ingesting and you're thinking like, oh, this is going to negatively affect me, it probably will kind of block our intuition a little bit. I know even with me, I have 3 videos on my YouTube about it if you're interested in watching sometime. But I was vegan for 17 years, pretty much. Once in a while, I'd have a random egg or a random piece of fish. Um, and then not this September, last September, I was completely guided to go back on the animal products. I can't have dairy anyway, so no dairy, which is why being vegan was not that tricky for me. I still can't have dairy, but I've heard so many people, and again, this is my perspective. Everyone can have their own perspective, obviously, and I think everyone's different. Um, Bodies are different, energy is different, but for me, I do think it was aligned for me to not have meat for a while. And then when I was guided to have the meat, I feel like my connection increased even more. I do go to like a local farm and I'm pretty picky about my animal products, but I I just think we're all so different. So I wouldn't want to make like a blanket statement. Um, yeah, I hope that helps a little. Yeah, avoiding prior. Yeah. I mean, maybe it affects him. That's definitely possible that it affects him. I'm getting a no. It's his thoughts. Don't tell him I said that. It feels like it's his thoughts about it. But again, do whatever you want or check in about it. That's what I like to do. When I hear someone say something, I'm like, but can I still have my coffee? Or can I like, because sometimes it is like, am I holding on to my coffee just because my human really wants my coffee? Or is it just fine to have coffee? I don't know. Things to check in on. That's why it's so great when you can have this skill set of intuitively checking in for yourself, yes or no, whether it's a pendulum or your body or just intuitively feeling into it. Okay, let's try, where should I ask? Let's try a card. So if you have a card deck, does anyone not have a deck of cards with them? Yep, go ahead. Go grab a deck if you need to. Ooh, look at that jumper. Normally I said yesterday, normally my jumpers don't mean anything. Can this one mean something? No, dang it. They always jump out. I'm like, why are you jumping if you don't mean anything? Oh my goodness. I love a good jumper. It just always, it's like, no, it's not for you. Why? I feel like they just jump out because they know I like when they jump out. And then it doesn't mean anything. Maybe it's just for fun. It makes me laugh, I guess. Maybe that's why. Yeah, if anyone doesn't have a deck, feel free to throw in the chat because I can just pull a card for you too, or go grab a deck. We're gonna try pulling a card and then asking through intuitive writing what we're meant to know about the card. So, and then after the intuitive writing, we can look a little more like if we see something in the card, but we're gonna see what our writing says about the card. It's gonna be neat. Yeah, it's funny. I'm so I don't want to say bad, 'cause it's not bad, but I don't know a lot about other people who do similar things like reading cards and pendulums and intuitive writing, channeling. I purposely get like the guidance to not listen so much to their stuff because then I'm not able to just listen to my own stuff. But I think it's awesome. Everyone's doing cool stuff. Those three were going to jump out. I caught them. Okay. Martha's back. She's got her cards. Oh, look, we're using the same deck, twins. I asked, this was the deck that wanted to come play. I love this one. It's so like whimsy, like magical and whimsy. Okay, so if you don't have a deck, I'm going to pull a card. Am I? Yes. I'm going to pull a card in case someone doesn't have a deck live or on the recording. So I'll pull a card for anyone to use that doesn't have a card. If you have your own deck, go ahead and use that. Okay, so I'm just going to shuffle it up however you like to shuffle it up. When I am shuffling, I am going to be thinking, okay, I'm going to be doing intuitive writing about this card. And I am going to be just looking for a message that a message that I'm meant to know through the card. So I'm not even saying anything fancy. I'm just like, okay, I know I'm going to do intuitive writing. I want a card for my intuitive writing that I can get a message from. And then pull it. That really wants to be shuffled. This is a collective for whoever needs it. Okay, and then once you have your card, oh, this is a neat one. Once you have your card, sit it up in front of you. I will show the card in case anyone needs it in a minute, but sit the card up in front of you and then get your paper or your technology out. And we're just going to write, actually type it here. Dear, whatever you're connecting with, I'm writing dear higher self. What am I meant to know about this card? Super simple. And then I would just, if you want to try this way, I would just keep writing that until something, a word or a sentence comes to you, and then write that. You could also at some point write like, is there more to know? Question mark. Is there more to know? Is there more to know? If you wanted to try that. And then if anyone needs a card, I will put it on the screen. Oh, Julie, that's awesome. Okay, what I wrote prior to pulling my card made no sense. And then I pulled my card, I have goosebumps, and explains what I wrote. It has really got me feeling emotional at this connection of these tools. Such goosebumps. And what's so, isn't it? It's so interesting how spirit works, because it's like somehow that all made sense and not in our time, like not our timeline. It's like backwards. Wow, so cool. I love that. Ooh, I got like I can feel your connection like widening to your stuff, your beam of light up here. Yes, so good. Oh my God, I love it. Love it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna say a few random things, and then if you want to throw anything in the chat, either if something's not working, or if you did get a message, didn't get a message, if you're confused about something, or if you just want to share something that you like to do concerning all of this, that is a little different than what I'm doing, totally fine. So I think I personally really like in the beginning combining it with a card. I feel like it can be really helpful to have those two things kind of working at the same time. And especially if you have time to really reflect, you can really look at the card after and see if there's any more intuitive messages that want to come through, or see if the guidebook makes sense. Um, and then just remembering that you can write back also. So like you get your message, you could say, okay, is there anything more? Or is that all I need to know? Or sometimes I like to write like, thank you, thank you, thank you at the end. Um, just seeing if I meant to talk about anything else. No, we're gonna do one more after this. Just while people are finishing up. If people are watching this in the online library, write it down. The March workshop in 2024 was focused on intuitive writing. So if you want to go through another workshop that's similar, but it's going to be a little different, but where I do go over kind of the how a little more, um, it is in that one, March 2024. And then all of the other ones, you kind of get to pick your tool as you go through it. So if you wanted to go back and do any of the workshops, but using intuitive writing as your tool, if that's what people are being called to right now as they watch this one, um, the crystal workshop, I feel like, is the one that is sticking out to me, where we figure out the jobs. I don't remember what month it is, but it's obvious in the title. We figure out what job certain crystals want to help us with, and then we use intuitive writing to connect with the crystals, well, to figure out the job. But the crystal workshop feels important for some of you that are watching this one. Okay. Um, Anything coming up? Questions? Working, not working? It's also totally fine if you are just like, I'm good. There's one, I'm saying one last thing. We'll see if it's the last thing or not. There's another way I want to try this for people. Okay. So this one, do we need a card? You can decide. Can they use a card? Okay, you can decide if you want to pull a card with this one. You do not have to. So this time we're going to connect with our body. So instead of whatever you were connecting with before, we're going to ask our body what it needs. Some of you may get the answer before you even pick up your tool. So if you get the answer, just write that down. But if that did not happen, I would maybe put my hand over my heart for a minute, take a nice little breath, really just focusing on your body, coming back into your body. And then I would just write down, I would write, dear body, what do you need me to know? Can be really interesting checking in with your body because so many times we like forget about our body, but it's really here to support us. I mean, it's why we can even be here, right? To be in our body. So the body can be really, really, really neat to connect with, whether just asking or through intuitive writing. The other thing that was coming through is for some of you, it'd be really neat to intuitive write about is your house. So, like, or your home, wherever you live, just dear home or dear apartment, dear house. What do you need from me, or what do you need me to know? Because our houses, you've probably heard this, but like our home is like an outward representation of what's happening inside of us, kind of on different levels. So sometimes um, our home might be cluttered or need like a clearing or just need kind of like some loving putting into it. And by doing that, it's like also will affect your own energy. So it can be really neat asking about your home. You can ask about certain crystals. You can connect with anything, anything that you can think of. But it can be like, if you're, like, getting a lot of information through intuitive writing, it could be really neat to ask, oh, your land, the land especially if you own, actually not even no, it doesn't even matter if you own it or not. The land that you're on, even if you're, like, renting or something, but even if you're in an apartment, the land that you are I call it, like, taking care of, like, the land that I'm taking care of, 'cause I don't feel like I own the land, but, like, the land that I'm taking care of, it can be really interesting, to connect in, like, if there's something the land needs from you. It's funny we're going this way. I do find that a lot of people on this kind of journey, are drawn to specific places where the land actually needs some sort of healing, from you, whether that means like having a garden or just like putting your energy kind of around into the land or taking care of it in a certain way or doing like legit energy work on the land. Um, I find that that usually happens at some point where the land needs some help from us that you're on. So that can always be interesting to check into as well. Okay. Anything coming up? Questions, comments? It's not working. It is working. It was working before I got on this call. It's still working. Anything you want to throw in the chat, go for it. Also, totally fine if you just want to hang out. See if there's anything else I'm supposed to talk about. Oh, you can also pull a card after your intuitive writing. So if you do feel stuck and you feel like nothing was really coming out when you were intuitive writing, or it just doesn't make sense, you can do it in the opposite way of pulling a card to help decipher your intuitive writing or decipher what message wanted to come through. So the card could go on either end. Either you could do the card first to get a message about the card, or maybe you pulled cards and you're like, oh my God, I have no idea what this card, what the message is. Maybe you do some intuitive writing to try to get more information about the card, or you do the intuitive writing, you're like, what the heck? And then maybe you pull a card like for more information, like a clarifying card is usually what people will call it. Like what more, like, can you pull a card? What more can I know about this? Or what more information can you tell me? Can I know? Not getting anything else that I need to say. Oh, it's only 12. Look at that. Maybe this is meant to be a short one. Shorter. I'm like checking my card decks. Any card decks want to play? Nope. Let's see, Martha, I still struggle with some questioning a word that comes up, whether it's my logical mind. Yeah, totally understand that. Once in a while, I get confirmation of a message in other ways throughout the day. Oh, that's interesting. You could also like ask to receive confirmation throughout the day. Um, you could also, if you use your pendulum, use that to kind of like fact check it with your pendulum. Sometimes I like doing, like I think I said that at the beginning, but kind of like using my pendulum to kind of fact check a little bit, like, did that really come from my higher self? And then there's also like the viewpoint that I feel like I you can also take of like, it doesn't even matter if it's not, if it was my logical mind, because technically it's like my higher self is me. I am my higher self. So maybe it's okay if it comes from my logical mind. I think even just the process of like getting present, feeling grounded, taking those breaths, connecting with, say, my higher self, even if I'm getting quote unquote logical or like my human is answering, I also don't think there's a problem with that. Maybe it's like a really part of my logical brain that has wisdom for me. Um, because like no one's checking you. This isn't like school where it's like a teacher's going to go through and be like, Martha, that word came from your logical mind. No, no, 85, you don't get 100. Like it's just you. It's like you and your spirit team or your higher self, your whoever's with you. There's like even me, I'm not going to be going through and being like, oh, Martha, there's no way your higher self said that. Um, it's kind of like I wouldn't even obviously this is easier said than done, but like it's like you don't even need to waste your energy on it. It's like, nah, this is just what came through today. Maybe my logical self is really smart today. Had something to share with me. Sometimes our humans know things, right? Um, so yeah, I'm like, but you know what that comes from? Because we feel like we have to be right. It's like we need the right answer and we can't do it wrong. Which is just like school and society. But yeah, it's like, hey, I'm good. Even my human is full of wisdom. And it's still practicing connecting in. It's all just practice. There's no tests, just opportunities for growth. Yeah, I know. Our minds can be so critical. And we're most critical of our own mind, too. Like you could show someone else your writing and they're like, whoa, even if you did it from like somehow you weren't connected to your intuition at all. And somehow it was just like human Martha writing it. You could show someone it and they'd be like, whoa, that's so good. Or like, what a nice message. And it's like, oh, maybe that's, that can still be valuable too, right? Um, yeah. But no, I understand. We want to be like, was that real? Was that totally there? But no, no one will be fact checking you. You're fine. But I also understand what you're saying, which could be a neat thing if you did have a journal like Emily's doing. It's like it could be neat looking back. Like I remember when I did have my journal before I got rid of it. I remember looking back when I felt like I was first starting. And like I said, we're always on our spiritual journeys, I think. But like when you first start getting conscious of it and trying to like get the information out, I remember looking back when I was like years past that and being like, holy crap, how did that come out of me? Like it sounds so like full of wisdom. And at the time, I was probably like, am I even doing this right? And then you look back at it and you're like, okay, that was not just like my human mind doing that. But again, even if it was, it's also fine. Yeah, great point. I can feel so much energy running through you guys right now. So much expansion. Okay. Any other things anyone wants to chat about? If not, I can just like, boop, power of the end button. Let me see if I meant to say anything else. Nope. Okay, well, if you have anything that comes up, whether you're watching live or the recording, definitely reach out. You can reply to any of my emails. It goes straight to me. In the Facebook group, if you're in the membership Facebook group, or reply to any of my emails, or if you're watching in the library, you can always leave a comment as well. But yes, so lovely having all of you here live. And then hi to everyone on the recording in the future, my future from now, which will no longer be the future when you're seeing this. But I hope you all have a great day. And yes, yes, I will see you on Wednesday, Emily. I don't know what the call's going to be yet. I was kind of thinking third eye stuff because we were talking about that last night. Okay, this is my last thing I'm going to say. And then I guess anyone who's on the recording can see if this actually happened for the December guided experience call. But I'm thinking that I want to use our pendulums again and check the percent that our third eyes are open, and then do like a guided experience and then check it again and see if it gives us a different number. I mean, anyone could try that, right? To go like do a YouTube video, like a third eye opening meditation or something, and then check. I'm just like super curious. Anyway, that's my guess. Could be wrong. We'll see. But thank you for being here. So much love to all of you. I will see you when I see you. And bye for now. And good job. You all did so good. So good. So good.